Florida State. Y'all done. I'm going to be real with you for a minute. I didn't see that coming today. I kind of thought Georgia Tech would probably keep it close, but y'all went out. I was let down. College football is not the same way it used to be. With this transfer portal. You got players switching teams and going to different schools, all for dollars. But I'm going to tell you right now, I know a lot of people picked y'all to win your conference this year and to go to the playoffs. And y'all had all the stuff from last year. We should have been in. We should have been in. They chose Alabama over you instead. Sure, Alabama lost as well. But y'all got boat raced by Georgia. Yeah, boat raced by Georgia. Then you had all the hype, the off-season training to where we're going to show the world. And y'all couldn't get past Georgia Tech? Really? Georgia Tech? Man. I don't get it. I don't get it. You're in the great state of Florida. You have all this NIL money. Just shows money can't buy victories right here today. But also shows us that it's going to be one hell of a college football season. And I cannot wait. Wait to see some more games like this. As a college football fan, you have to appreciate what's being done, okay? And if you're alive and you're watching football for the first time in your life, God bless you. Roll Tide. There are so many teams that can make this 12-team playoff. When I go back and look at the recruiting portal, the recruiting portal, at least in my eyes, kind of dictates, the team's value and the team's growth, right? But there's also a lot of false information with the recruiting portal as well. Florida State. Now, Florida State got some good players out of there. They got Roydell Williams, running back at Alabama. Fantastic player. So they're getting people that are coming from other schools, just like every school is, and you never know if they're going to pan out or not until you actually get in the game. Practice, everybody looks good in practice, right? So, but back to the portal. You go back and you look at it. Ole Miss, I believe, was number 1 in the portal. It was 1 5-star, a couple 4-stars, and I think 12 or 13 3-star players, right? How they develop those 3-star players is going to determine what Ole Miss does this year, right? Oregon, right along the same lines, and Alabama, right along the same lines. There's a lot of teams that have talent that's there. Some coaching changes, right? Player changes, conference changes. Good Lord, I cannot wait to see Texas and Oklahoma this year in the SEC. I think it's fantastic. I think that just solidified the SEC as being the best conference ever, even though it already was. I think it just makes it that much stronger. And I'm going to go and say right now, there's a possibility that when this playoff starts, you may have 3 teams from the SEC in there. Big 12, that's nothing since the big dogs left, OU and Texas. Which reminds me on that real quick. I'm not an OU fan at all. I just want to throw it out there. People that know me know I'm not an OU fan. I think it stands for Overrated University. But I'm going to give OU some credit here, okay? I've heard a lot of Texas coming to the SEC, and they're bringing OU with them. When I look at the history of college football, I look at pageantry. I look at fan base. Of course, I look at championships, conference, or natties. I look at NFL drafts, right? How many people they had to go to the NFL and how they've done. OU's legitimate, okay? OU is absolutely legitimate. I think OU is going to have as much success in the SEC as Texas does. And it doesn't matter that they're not playing in the Big 12 anymore. That Red River rivalry, to me, is just as big as the Iron Bowl. Depending on where you're from, some people may say it's bigger. They're drinking on the job, apparently. But to me, Iron Bowl is number one. Red River rivalry is number two. So both of those schools are now in the SEC, which is going to strengthen the SEC. It's going to make for better matchups in the SEC. Because let's be real, for years you've had your top dwellers. You've had your LSUs, your Alabamas, right? Your Georgias. That's really it every now and then, unless you have an occasional win by a team like Tennessee over in Alabama or something like that. Hell, I remember Mississippi State was the number one team in the country. Bama took care of business against them and won in an Natty that year. But anyways, it brings me back to this. Texas is good. They're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good. They've recruited very well. They have that Texas money. That's that long money. But OU does too, right? So Texas coming to the Big 12 is great for overall recruiting. I don't think there's anybody or another state that puts out as much talent as the state of Texas. You could argue California puts out some talent, right? You could argue Florida puts out some talent, which they do. Both of those other states do. But Texas, man, when Texas is good, it's good for college football. When OU's good, it's good for college football. I understand there's a lot of Bama fatigue out there, right? A lot of people are thinking that Alabama's not even going to make the playoffs this year, which is stupid to think that Alabama not in a 12-team playoff. Come on, give me a break. Alabama's going to be in the playoffs every year. Kalen DeBoer, top 3 head coach, right? When Saban left, Kalen come in, right? Everybody was like, oh, everybody's going to leave. Yeah, they have people transfer out just like everybody else did. It's for the money. That's why they leave. It's not for the educational purposes. It's strictly for dollars is what it is. But what people don't realize is when Kalen DeBoer came in and Saban left, right, Alabama's overall coaching staff got better. Got better. So there were some deficiencies in Alabama the last couple of years, and you can kind of see it as an Alabama fan, right? But again, we all put our faith in Nick Saban, and he did great for us, and he brought us a lot of national titles. Just being real with you. But I do think Kalen DeBoer at Alabama is a great fit. Hands down. I think Dan Lanning out at Oregon, man, Oregon's putting together a squad. Oregon's going to be one of those teams that I don't think anybody really wants to play. I think they're a team that people have them circled on the calendar. Right? I think it was a lot like today. I think Georgia Tech had Florida State circled on the calendar. It's just changing, man. The whole landscape of college football is changing. It's absolutely changing. I went on and I kind of looked at some bowl projections and things. A lot of people, as far as bowl projections, had Florida State somewhere around the Peach Bowl. I think that's what it was for a quarterfinal matchup. That's not happening. That's not happening. Let's be real. Utah is going to run through the conference. I'm telling you right now. Utah's a shoe-in. Ohio State, with Harbaugh being gone, Michigan's still loaded with talent. They still got a lot of the same core people there. That one's hard to say. I do think, though, if for Ohio State to have a chance to get into the playoffs, they're going to have to beat Michigan. Right, they're going to have to beat Penn State. That the Big Ten is close to the SEC as far as power goes with it. Nobody else is even close to them. They're just not. So in the Big Ten, you could possibly have, somebody like Ohio State, Penn State make the playoffs. I don't know in what order or whatnot. In the SEC, you could have. You could have a Georgia, you could have a Texas, I don't think A&M's going to make it. Some people are really high on A&M right now. I'm not really seeing it. Yeah, they had a pretty decent recruiting portal cycle. They got some things in place there as well. But scheduling the SEC right now is unbelievable. The best football brand out there is the SEC, right? Do I think that they're going to lose a Natty this year? No. Natty's coming back to the SEC. It is. It's coming back to the Southeastern Conference. And I don't think there's anything anybody can do about it. I don't think there is. So I'll tell you this. Florida State losing today on a field goal. That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking for the fans. It's heartbreaking for college football. Fantastic for Georgia Tech, though. Absolutely fantastic for Georgia Tech. Absolutely fantastic for Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech fan base, proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. That just opens the door to other teams to get in now. And to the fan base at Florida State, you are a Power 5 school who's won national titles. Something has to change. I think the coaching there is fantastic. The recruiting is fantastic. I don't know if today was just play calling or if they were, in Dublin, Ireland, if they had something to do with it, like the Irish. I don't know. But this is why I love college football. It's for the chaos already on day one. A top 10 team just goes down. Just lays down like a high school prom date. Just lay down. That's what they did. I think Georgia Tech had a plan, to go out there and run the ball. Whenever you look at the actual stats on the deal, it's 24-21. 52 total plays for Georgia Tech, I think is what it was, and then 340 yards, roughly 330 something yards. But where Georgia Tech got them at was on yards per play, right? Let me see if I can find this real quick. Oh, there you go. Yeah, yards per play, 6.5 yards per play. Florida State's 5. Florida State's passing way down. Come on, DJ. I expected more than that from you. I expected way more than that from you, man. Clemson, then Oregon State, then Florida State. He's a money grabber, y'all. That's what he is. He's out there just chasing dollars. Georgia Tech, 146 passing yards, which is normally about right for them. Georgia Tech's always been a run-heavy offense. I don't know if you guys remember or not the old Bobby Dodd days and triple option. And they had a little running back they had back there and a kick returner. I think his name was Kelly Rhino. Tough kid. Georgia Tech, yards per play was 9.1 to Florida State 7. Rushing, this is the crazy part here to me, okay? Georgia Tech, 190 yards on the ground. They ran it down your throat. They averaged 5.3 yards per rush. That's taking it in the butt, FSU. That's what that is. 3 rushing touchdowns. However, you had a measly 98 yards. And we're talking about with talent in your backfield. All kinds of talent in your backfield. 98 rushing yards is all you managed to come up with today. So, looking at this, Florida State knows what they need to work on, knows what they need to fix. I do think that the next couple games for Florida State, I do think you're going to see a different team. It is the first game of the year. So, there's time to recover. Most definitely there's time to recover. But this one's going to sting, man, when it comes playoff time. And they got to make a choice on who's going to get in that 12th spot. Because right now, Florida State was hanging at number 10. And they'll probably drop somewhere to, depending on how the rest of the next week goes, I would say probably maybe 18th to 19th, right? So they're going to have a lot of ground to make up. Georgia Tech, riding high. You're going to see Georgia Tech drop on into the top 25 of college football. If they keep doing what they're doing, we may have Georgia Tech, representing their conference and then getting a first round bye for the playoffs. So, but let's go back to these stats here for a second, though, real quick. want to look at something real quick. All right. Jamal Haynes for Georgia Tech, right? 11 attempts, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? Roydale Williams, again, transferring from Alabama to Florida State, 69 total yards, 1 touchdown, right? Lawrence Toafili, 57 yards, 1 touchdown. Haynes King, 54 yards. For those of y'all that know about Haynes King, right? Haynes King's a big kid, dude. He's 6'3", 215, 220 pounds, right? I believe he was at Texas A&M. I believe that's where it was. So he was highly recruited coming out of high school, going to college. Didn't like what was going on down there. Went to Tech, right? Kid's already showing out, man. Kid's already showing out. Haynes King will probably be, by the end of the year, your #1 quarterback in the ACC. I know there's a lot of big games coming up, right? And he still has to perform. But just looking right now at what this kid did here and what this kid did when he was at A&M, I don't think there's anybody else in ACC that's going to be able to touch his quarterback play. You know, Georgia Tech keeps running the ball. You know, they didn't back down from Florida State, man. That's what's crazy. So, I remember back in the day when you'd have big schools, somebody would play a big school, you know, like a Georgia or an Alabama or a Florida State or even Florida back in the 90s, Steve Spurrier in the air raid deal, or funny gun offense. These teams would look at those teams there and just get all nervous and get tight, and they didn't want to play them, right? So they already won the game before they even stepped off the bus. I don't think you're going to see that this year in college football. Just because the portal, I think the portal's taking place. I think it's taking hold. I think some of these players are gelling with the teams they're at, with their offenses, defense, special teams. I think they're buying into the systems that are being put in place now. Sure, you're going to have people that transfer out and whatever, but you're also going to have people that transfer in. Remember that. Remember that. People are going to transfer in, man. You know, when you look at your portal, nobody does the portal better than Lane Kiffin. Let's just be real. He recruits a lot of people out of the portal. A lot. People love him. He's charismatic. They want to play for him, right? They know that he can get them to the next level, which ultimately is the NFL, and that's where people's dreams come true at, the NFL. But this Haynes King kid, you want to mark my words right now, dude, I bet he'll be one of the top quarterbacks taken whenever it's time to leave. Just fascinating kid to watch. He doesn't get nervous in the pocket. I'd want him my quarterback at Alabama, to be honest with you. You know, if we didn't have what we had, the monster. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Milroe. But yeah, I would take him in a heartbeat. But yeah, so Florida State, you got some things you got to work on. You know, I go back and I look at it. So, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but remember, I think it was in December 2022, maybe? I think that's what it was. They wound up playing Oklahoma. It was in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That's where it was at, Pop-Tarts Bowl. And they won, I think it was like 35, one by like a field goal. It was like 34-31, 35-32, something like that. Well, at that moment when they did that, you know, FSU started getting more hype. Even last year, they had a lot of close games. They had games that they should have blown people out on. You know, they didn't. They had a lot of much closer games, right? So going undefeated last year, I think if he was going undefeated this year versus last year, what we had happen last year in the selection committee for the playoffs wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. Just because the rules that are set in place now with the automatics, you know, you get your automatic bye and all this stuff, you know, and ultimately that's what everybody's striving for, you know, is that automatic bye. Because playing football, man, at any level, it hurts. And so having that extra week to prepare makes a difference. So, I don't know. That's kind of my rant for today on what I just saw. So, I'm super excited about this football season. If you guys have stayed until the end of this video, I kind of want to let you know, a little something real quick. The whole reason why I started this video deal because was for motivation. right? Motivation for myself, motivation, you know, for my family, right? Motivation, you know, for my twin sister, you know, to support her. You know, my twin sister, she was involved in an automobile accident, and pretty serious deal. And so I do these videos so that way she can kind of watch them and stuff as well, and still be a part of each other's lives. She lives down in Alabama, and me, I'm up in beautiful Northwest Arkansas, which reminds me real quick on Arkansas. Hold up, I got to get you, Hog fans. So, living here in Fayetteville, right? There's a lot of hype that's going on this year. A lot of hype going on this year. Bobby Petrino's back. Petrino's back. We're going to be okay. Our offense is going to be okay. I'm going to tell you something. Your offense left last year. KJ Jefferson. That was your offense, right? The problem with Arkansas is you have a head coach that's there, right, who come from Georgia, who is supposed to be an offensive line guru, right? And one of the worst issues Arkansas has was the offensive line last year and the year before that. My prediction on Arkansas this year is that by game 7, I'm going to give it game 8. I'm going to give it game 8. Game 8, that Sam Pittman's going to be gone from Arkansas. Bobby Petrino is going to regain the reins at Arkansas. And they're going to continue to struggle, right? Bobby Petrino, when he was at Arkansas the first time, football was a different game. Different speed, a lot of the same play calls, but it was different speed. It was just it changes. Football evolves every year, it seems like. You know, a new offense comes out or a new defensive scheme comes out, you know. Portal rankings, you know, all that comes out. When you go out and you look at the portal for Arkansas, they haven't done very well. I'm just going to be real. They have not done very, very, very well at Arkansas in the portal. So, when you look at Arkansas' schedule right here, matter of fact, let me pull this up real quick. Dude, it is no joke. It is no joke. All right. Here we go. We'll break it down for you right now. Record it, do whatever you want to do with it, put it on your Snapchat deals or whatever. That way you can come back later on and tell me if I was wrong or not. All right, so start off with Western Carolina. Oh, no, not that one. Hold up. Hold up. Wrong deal. I've never done this before with a YouTube channel. I'm not very tech savvy. I'm not one of those guys that's be like, oh, this is how you do this shit. Because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm literally doing it on the fly. So, if I need to make any changes or anything y'all want to see, or make any suggestions, let your boy know. Because I have no idea. No idea. I don't know if you guys are supposed to do it like this, supposed to search stuff up, look at it, just talk, chit chat, I don't know. I do know this. I know I like Harley Davidsons, 4-wheel drives, and an ice cold drink every now and then. That's what I like. All right, so let's look at the schedule real quick. So, on August 29th, come on, you know that right there. It's probably better when we go live. That way we can kind of interact. It's kind of weird talking to myself. I don't have mental issues. I just have a lot of people in my brain. All right, so looking at this deal right here. You got Arkansas Pine Bluff, the Golden Lions, right? Whew. Come to Arkansas. They come to Arkansas. It's kind of a rivalry game, isn't it? In-state. Now, I'm going to give that one to Arkansas. Barely. Barely. Then you got Arkansas going to Oklahoma State. That's a loss, right? I don't think Arkansas has enough firepower to keep up with Oklahoma State. Then you have the Blazers. UAB Blazers. You know, the Alabama team. By the way, the best teams in Alabama are Alabama, UAB, Troy, and then Auburn is somewhere down there. Somewhere down there. If you're ever in Alabama and you got to go to the bathroom, Auburn's a great place to stop. Great place to stop for that. UAB Blazers. I'm going to give that one to Arkansas. So now we're going to go 2-1. That's where we are. Right? And then Arkansas Razorbacks at Auburn. Auburn's going to get them. So now for 4 games in, Arkansas's 2-2. Right? And then they go to A&M. So now they're 2-3. And then Tennessee comes to town. I haven't seen anything from Arkansas to tell me anything any different. So I'm going Tennessee. So right now, looking at this schedule, Arkansas has the potential to be 2-4 starting off. And then LSU, the mighty Bayou Bengals, come to town. Okay. Loss. No surprise, Arkansas. Loss. So remember what I was saying earlier? By game 7, maybe game 8, Sam Pittman's going to be gone. That's game 7 right there. With a loss to Arkansas. Could happen. Some of y'all believe in Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. Might not believe in this. So it'll be 2-7. And then you got to win against Mississippi State. I'll give you that one. They got y'all last year in Fayetteville. I think y'all get them this year in Starkville. And then Ole Miss comes to town. So now you're 3-6 with a loss to Ole Miss. Right? Texas is going to get y'all. So now you're 3-7. But I'm going to give y'all Louisiana Tech. Y'all got them the next week here in Arkansas. So now we're going to go 4-7, right? And then you got good old Missouri. Now, y'all can't beat Missouri with a wet noodle, it seems like. I don't understand it. It's Mizzou. They're not a big football powerhouse. I don't understand it. Wet noodle. Missouri sticks it in y'all's butt. Y'all done. So 4-8 is a Hogs record this year. 4-8. Mark it down. Lock it in. If I'm wrong, let me know. 4-8. All right. Again, I'm just starting this channel. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing here. I kind of feel like I just rambled a little bit. I don't even know if the damn microphone works or not. So we're going to find out whenever I upload this thing. And guys, please hit like and subscribe. I guess that's what you're supposed to say. I don't know. Hit it if you want to hit it. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. Eventually, I want to get to the point to where I can do like live call-ins and stuff. I want to be able to meet people from all around the world, the United States, Kansas City. I don't know why, and just have a good time doing this, man. So, all right. Guess that's it. Deuces.